my online exclusive video. I'm just going to give you a little bit of background information into the making of my latest CD called Plugged In. I'm going to fill you in on what I use to record most of the songs, and then I'm going to show you what I'm using now actually for my live rig, because the two things are actually quite a bit different. So I guess we'll start with guitars, and this is actually going to start here because this is the one that one of the ones that I use the most. I also use my yellow Strat a lot, which we'll get to in a minute, but this is a 1961 ES 165 with PAF pickups, and this is actually a beauty. So when speaking about vintage instruments, not always do I agree that older is necessarily better, but nothing can touch this. Nothing modern, nothing else I've ever played really. For this type of guitar, I'm also a huge Strat fan, so I'll say that in a few minutes. I use this not a lot, but I did use it on my song called Austin. This is a 1959 ES 175. Also, I'm lucky enough to have two PAF pickups in this one too. So I probably don't need to tell many of you about the most sought after pickup on the planet, I'm sure. And then moving across, I have, this is one of the acoustics that I have. This is a Collings guitar, very nice, OM model. I use this on country, that's probably the only, and a few others actually. I use this on country, rose garden, yellow guitar. It's kind of a layered texture in the background, which you'd probably actually have to go listen for it to hear it, because it's not very obvious. Another fine Gibson guitar. This is the this is a Les Paul. It's about a 2004 R9, I think. It's actually the last one made with the Brazilian rosewood neck. So this is actually a real gem too, and it's a great guitar. I used it on Galen's Vice, and that's probably actually about it. But I love it for power chords. So if there were some power chords elsewhere that I'm not remembering, I probably use this. And then back here, many guitars in the stand. This is I actually kind of had this made after my yellow Strat, which really is my favorite guitar. I'll be honest, I use this more than anything. But I actually wanted kind of a backup or something with a maple neck, so I had Born Custom Guitars actually make me this one to my specs. And if I want to use a whammy bar, this is just far better than the Fender Strats at actually making some wild noises. So actually I like this, and I had this one modified with a phase switch, and this is the 7-way selector. So if I go this way, I can have like this pickup, this pickup, this pick, all of them off, and then you can do like, this one and whatever, I can't remember. I have to look at the piece of paper he wrote down on for me. So honestly, I don't use that very much to do that. But I did use this guitar live a few times, and also on Late and Never. And moving across, this is another Born guitar, and this is these are beautiful guitars and extremely articulate, very well made. This has two P90s in it. This is all reclaimed wood. They pulled it out of a river in California or something. But very nice guitar. This is the chambered body. So actually I use this instead of, but I don't travel with that one. So I'll use this one live in songs where I use this. I actually find it to be a pretty good match for that guitar. So, and I also probably I don't remember what else. Oh, I use this actually on Funk Opus on the lead sound too. Just on this pickup here. It's actually pretty good for rocking out on. Now moving across, you have a 1965 Fender Stratocaster. And this is a great guitar, lovely neck, but to be honest, I like my Masterbuilt a little bit better. It's just something about this guitar, I don't know, it's kind of like lucky magic. I didn't even know what I was getting. I bought it off eBay. But it's a great guitar. I actually like it better than the 65. So it's one case where the newer guitar, in my opinion, beats out the vintage. And then I have, this is actually an Eric Johnson signature guitar. And I'm a big Eric Johnson fan, so I thought if I bought his guitar, maybe I'd play more like him. I don't know about that. So that's getting into most of the guitars, and of course, I already showed this one, but I'll show it again. This is my true love, the yellow Strat, and actually wrote a song for it. So that's basically covers the guitars off. Now most of the sounds that I used, or amps that I used to create Plugged In, was really the 54 Deluxe. I probably used that on 80% of the lead sounds, well, maybe 60%. And I also used my Marshall Bluesbreaker combo, which is actually not a Marshall Bluesbreaker combo. It's an exact replica of one, and I actually found all the parts online, either in actually all over the world. I think some of it resistors came from Russia, and capacitors from Greece, and the only thing that's not NOS in this is the mercury magnetics transformers, which I think sound great. I have the original Bluesbreaker speakers. It took me about 2 years to find 2 of them. I found one, which is the only one I've ever seen for sale on eBay, and then I found the second one actually here in Canada about 1.5 years later, and put that in. So it actually has the original Bluesbreaker speakers, and everything else is NOS except for the 2 transformers, which I couldn't find originals. And quite frankly, I actually like the mercury magnetics ones as much as the vintage ones. These twin reverbs here are actually clones again that I had made similar fashion to this. They probably have JBLs in them, I think both of them. And I actually have the originals, 1963s, that I did use to record most of the album, when I used the double fender sound, which is a fair bit, on Clean Sounds. But I actually think that the clones, they're just a little bit cleaner, less headache, so I use those. Particularly, I got them so I didn't have to cart the other ones around in a live show. So that's most of the amps. I'll just give you a rundown. So I also used these clones made by the same fellow, which is, I have 2 of these as well. These are twins, and these are great. I mean, he just does an amazing job on this amp. And they look great too, but they're, again, clones of the originals. Which I have one, and actually I like that better. So I use these. This is an original 73 high watt, sound of David Gilmour. Great amp. These are both vintage cabs that I have. I think it's about 1978. These are there's 80 watt speakers in there. And then those are the 25 watt Celestion greenbacks. That's about a 1971 or 72 cab. And then I have 2 Marshall Plexis. This top one here is 1965, and it's actually a great amp. And then the bottom one's a 1967 SLP 100, which is actually too loud for me. And this one actually I got from Dave the Snake Sabo, and it was used on almost exclusively, he tells me, on the first Bon Jovi record, and almost exclusively on both of Skid Row's records. So that is a 1967 SLP, and it was maintained apparently inside. When you open it up, it was signed by Ken Fisher, and he maintained it up until I got it. And to be honest, it was a bit of a rat's nest, so I had to get a guy to clean it up. But don't tell anybody. Then also on the album, particularly on the end of Rock Jam, everybody asked me, "Oh, what's that sound that's going up and down?" It's actually this flanger, but I actually can't do it anymore because I guess something burnt out a capacitor. So I actually sent it back to Mike Beagle, the inventor of all this Mutron stuff, and he fixed it for me. But he fixed it so well that I didn't get my crazy magic rising and falling squealing guitar sounds that I had at the end of Rock Jam. So it's really unfortunate that sound was here for a short while, not a long while, and the magic was recorded, and I can't do it anymore. Too bad. This is the biphase, and I had them all mounted on a board, which is kind of really cool. So it keeps it clean. And so the biphase here, I have the Mutron 3 filter here. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't read. And then the I can't remember what they call these things anymore. This is the octaver, or the octave pedal, and then I have the control pedal, which was kind of hard to find too. So I kind of got all the Mutron stuff and mounted it on a board, and yeah, that's right. So so that's my Mutron stuff, and then so mostly on the lead sound, actually, I used a tape echo. This one I kind of wore out. I have to get it fixed. And then I have the full tone modern day copies of this. And they're pretty good, although I had fair difficulties with the tape getting stuck all the time. So I kind of got frustrated with that stuff. I was going to use it in my live rig, but I spent so much time messing with tape I got fed up with it. So I started looking at other ways to get the sound, and I think I've done it. And this is a Roland Space Echo, which is in good shape, fun to use, fun to have. I don't use it a ton, but it's kind of a nice collector's piece. And then going over in the pedal, so I used Memory Man a lot on lead sound. So it was usually kind of like Memory Man and Echoplex. And then in front of that is either the Big Muff, which is a vintage 1973 Big Muff, but this one's getting pretty loud on me. So actually I got another one and it didn't quite sound as good. But kind of really love this. This is probably the 1970-ish. So I used that basically. And since then I've been doing, like since I finished recording, I've been using this Maxon, which I just recently got, and I actually quite like it. So just a Maxon and any kind of a muff or fuzz pedal. And then I was using Echoplex drive. I'll get to that in a second though. And then, oh yeah, the other pedal that I have used a ton of was this is the original 1982 Screamer TS-808. One of my favorite pedals. A lot of magic. And then I've actually rehoused them. The King of Tone I have in here so I can control it. So now that I'm speaking about this, I'll just jump right into it. This is my live rig here. So basically, playing live, I use this, which is everything is rack mounted, and I control it from the pedal board. So I have two Fender Twins and a Marshall, so it's much like the, I don't use 3 amps at a time, I use the two Twins or the Marshall as the lead sound. Everything is controlled from this control pedal down here, and then it controls these switchers here, and everything is looped into these two effects gizmo switchers. So I have an original fuzz face, which is rehoused in here, the King of Tone, which I use in here, and I have the Tube Screamer, the original. I use a Keeley compressor, which is, I like it seems to do the job. And then one of the gold H9 Maxes. I only made 99 of these. I think I got number 99. There's a fuzz factory I use for them crazy fuzz tone sounds. This is an Echoplex, so I kind of keep this on most of the time, and I find that this kind of gets me this sound, and I pretty much get it with anything. So I use this Tribute, I think it's Canadian-made fuzz pedal, because it's quiet and sounds great. So I run that into the Echoplex and dial the volume back just to get the creamy sound of the Echoplex. And then I can find, if you do that, it really delays. You can use pretty much any delays. I mean, I find I do. So I have two timelines in here, and I have basically a Memory Man style in here and a Tape Echo style in here. And then this is Big Sky reverb unit, which I have a lot of fun with. It's a pretty good pedal. And then I use this for my modulation, so flanger, Mobius, flanger, chorus, and it does a decent job. On the album I used actually the Carl Martin chorus, which I actually really like, but there's just so much more flexibility and controllability to kind of do it this way live. I've used a lot of sounds, so I just can't remember where to put my feet, and I got enough other things to worry about playing live that I just want it, programmed. So even though I think it is a little bit better to kind of have my original analog pedals all set up, playing live, it's just too much. So I found it easier to do it this way. And that is pretty much it.